Okay, so this is a new what if that I did say I was gonna do this. Now after this what if I'm gonna be uploading what if Deku was Deadpool from X-Men Origins Part 2. Now let's get into it. Now this is what if Deku was the Invisible Man from the the classic 19 something something movie or 18 something something movie, I don't really know. But yeah, this what if Deku was the Invisible Man. I'm not talking about the new, the new horror movie Invisible Man, the latest one. I'm talking about the 90s one with the bandages and all that other stuff. Or, like Hollow Man type of stuff. So, Deku, basically, in this universe, is, not born with a quirk. Deku is basically a prodigy when he's born. Deku was born with a very developed brain. Deku could talk by the age of 5 months. Deku could talk incredibly fast, or probably 4 months. Deku could talk in perfect speech. Deku had perfect, equality literature. Deku knew how to read faster than any human child should ever know how to learn to read, and Deku's parents didn't even teach him to read yet. Deku was incredibly good in all of his subjects, and Deku was perfect in the physical and mental mind. Deku basically was as skinny as he was in canon, but Deku was a little bit taller. And Deku had like 1%, a little bit more buffer, but not too much buff to make a difference. So Deku basically his universe, Deku when he was born quirkless, when he was told he was quirkless, Deku didn't accept that. Deku basically, um, Deku had black hair in this universe, but it ain't gonna really make a difference because he's an Invisible Man. You already see the title. So Deku basically doesn't take this for an answer. Deku, Deku's told his whole entire life that he's incredibly smart and he's gonna be doing really good things in the world. Deku accepts that, he doesn't accept that he's quirkless. So Deku takes it in his hands to try to make some sort of quirk for him, or try to make an artificial quirk. So Deku starts going to work. Every Deku works on this, project for about a year, and then he just gives up on it, but eventually it comes into an addiction. Deku isn't able to stop obsessing about it. Deku tries doing it over and over and over again. Now, Deku doesn't go to the same school as Bakugo. He goes to a school called, he goes to a school a couple of yards away from UA. It's basically just a very prestigious school for quirkless, not quirkless, kids with quirks that have incredible, smarts. Even kids that don't even have a quirk, going with their smarts. So just kids that are naturally smart. So Deku goes to that school, and Deku does have a lot of chemical, projects. Deku is pretty much focuses most of his knowledge in science. Deku already has a PhD, or he's getting on his way to get a PhD. So Deku is basically going in and out, just trying to make an artificial quirk. He does this for a couple of years until Deku's about Deku's about 15. About after the 10-month arc training, no, when the 10-month arc training starts, Deku starts, getting very, desperate and just, stops. And Deku pretty much makes a serum or a elixir of the artificial quirk. And Deku is going to put it in his bloodstream. Now, Deku doesn't know yet. He just thinks it's going to pass through his blood system. But now it's just going to stay in his blood cells forever. And it is never going to be out of his blood cells. Just the day he dies. So Deku gets desperate and tries his hardest to try to make the quirk. Deku wasn't doing anything, and Deku just lost his hope. And just one day, Deku comes home really tired and just says, "Well, forget it," and just stabs himself with a syringe, pushing it into his veins. Deku starts freaking out. Deku's pupils start widening really wide. Deku falls out to the ground. The next morning, Deku wakes up. Deku gets up and he looks around. Deku looks at his hands and says nothing's really weird and walks off. Deku walks through behind his mirror, walks up through his mirror and looks back and sees that it's him. He's invisible. Now, basically, the way Deku's invisibility works, it works like, normal invisibility, but Deku can see his body, but no one else can. So yeah, so it ain't hard for him to, see where he's putting his hands, or his arms, or his legs are. So yeah, so Deku, basically being invisible, Deku yells out and says, it worked, I made an artificial quirk. Now Deku was originally trying to make some sort of quirk that would give him super strength, but Deku made an invisibility serum. Now, the invisibility serum did change Deku in some sort of ways other than invisibility. Deku had increased stamina, strength, and agility. Basically, Deku's max lifting strength would be about the equivalent of lifting a Lamborghini with one hand tied behind his back. So Deku was pretty strong. Deku also has the strength of pretty much, he can punch a steel door down with about 3 punches and it would just fly off the hinges. So yeah. So Deku was pretty, strong. Deku was as fast as a motorcycle. Deku was as fast as a motorcycle. And also Deku had the amount of speed, the amount of, Deku also had some sort of invulnerability. Now, now I'm gonna give Deku some sort of, translucent invulnerability. If you don't know what the boys are, translucent is a character from the boy. Basically, he has invisibility, but light shines away from him. Basically, he bends light around himself, and his skin becomes invulnerable, almost to the point of diamond-like invulnerability, but only on his skin. So if somebody, blew him up from the inside, he will die. So Deku has that ability. Deku's skin is invulnerable when he's invisible. Now, Deku sees it as fun, and pretty much, but Deku's quirk works kind of like Invisible Girls in My Academia. He has to be butt-ass naked to, sorry guys for my language. He has to be butt naked to use his quirk. So yeah. So he has to be butt naked to use his quirk. Fully. So Deku, doesn't want to show anybody yet, so he takes some bandages and bandages his face up. Now Deku tries to make something, some sort of elixir to reverse the chemical changes so he won't be invisible forever. Pretty much, doing it over and over for 10 months. But Deku gets angry, and pretty much something that was in the serum triggered something in Deku's brain. It was the part of the brain that controlled anger and pretty much violence, and it was boosted up. So Deku did have, shreds of rage then and there, but Deku wasn't, like Bakugo type of level of rage. It was like some sort of, saw, pretty much, murderous rage sometimes for like a short amount of minutes in his day. So Deku pretty much, started training with his newfound quirk, and, Deku basically gave up on the idea of, using his quirk to, Deku gave up on the idea of turning his body back to normal. So Deku obviously went back to just being invisible. Deku wore clothes like normal, and Deku did find another alternative other than turning, invisible. Deku found a gel, the same skin tone as his, that was waterproof, so he could put it on his face when it rained. So Deku covered his face with this gel in the same skin tone as his original skin was, and pretty much, bought a green wig that was in the same hair color as his, and shaked it up, making it have the same hairstyle as his, basically looking as normal. But if Deku wanted to be invisible, he could just, scrape the gel off of his hands, off of his face. Now Deku wore skin toned gloves, and use some of the sculpting tools to make his fingernails pop out so they won't be gone. So Deku didn't want to do that because they were really sweaty, so he just put black gloves on that didn't have any openings on them. So Deku, only part of Deku's skin that showed was the skin tight gel he put on his face when he went out in public, so he wouldn't be, you know, no one would be curious how Deku got an invisibility quirk after Deku was told that he was quirkless. So Deku went went to the entrance exam after the 10 months of him training with his newfound quirk, and Deku went to, the entrance exam. So Deku gets ready, and Deku basically doesn't have his gel on his face, he just has his bandages on his face. Now, Deku, they get ready and they get started. So Deku wears a pretty much a suit just like this in the picture with black gloves though, and bandages around his face and a pretty much a hat simulating the same hat that Perry the Platypus wore in Phineas and Ferb, but it just has black instead of brown. So they get ready and they say start. So Deku takes off his hat immediately and starts sprinting off, pretty much dodging people left and right. Deku's running, and eventually Deku gets to a certain point where he what you call it. Deku gets to a certain point when he's running, and he sees a airplane robot try to hit Deku. Deku dodges it and starts taking off his clothes. Deku takes off his hat and rips off the bandages and takes his gloves off, takes off his shirt and his, jacket and pants, and just, stripping butt naked. Now Deku was able to make some sort of clothing that would blend with his quirk underwear, so Deku's stuff wouldn't be flapping around when he's running. I'm so weird. So Deku basically goes um through the what was it? Um the area, the fake city, running to robot, dodging them, throwing them into buildings left and right, destroying them. So Deku basically gets to a certain point where he's about to uh run off when he sees a zero pointer robot deck. When he sees a zero pointer robot. Sorry guys. So Deku was about to run off, but he hears a girl screaming. Deku says, "Well, whatever," and pretty much he keeps on running. Now, since Deku was a little bit more cool-minded and doesn't really have that much remorse, a hero steps in, saves Ochaku, so Deku isn't the one to save Ochaku. So yeah. So Deku basically, the next day after the entrance exam is over, Deku goes to school the next day, knowing that he getting the note and everything, and Deku goes to UA the next day. Deku walks in class 1A, and guys, I may be shipping Deku with obviously the Invisible Girl in class 1A, but guys, you can pick who you want Deku to be shipped with, the Invisible Girl from class 1A or somebody else completely. Now, I think I already got my Benton What If. I already got Deku shipped with um, Momo with my Benton What If. You guys will correct me in the comments if Deku has any other shipping with my new reboot version of What If Deku had the Omnitrix. But I am after this gonna be uploading What If Deku was Deadpool Part 2, the X-Men Origins one, and I will also be uploading What If Deku had the Omnitrix Part 4 or 3 after this video. So yeah, so let's get back in the story. So Deku walks in there and pretty much they get started. So everybody's talking, blah blah, and Deku sits next to a empty chair with a floating outfit in it. Deku looks closer and says, "Who are you?" And she says, "Oh, I'm blah blah blah," saying her name. Deku says, "So you're invisible too?" Now Deku has his gloves on and his bandages around his face and black, you know, shades like in this picture, and has his bandora on or his hat. So Deku says, "Well, it's kind of cold in here." So Deku sees that Aizawa walks in class, and he explains to the class they're doing, quirk assessments. Now, guys, you're probably wondering, Deku doesn't walk in there with his trench coat. He just has a bandages around his arm and his face, so no one would see, his arms and his face exposed, being gone. Now Bakugo doesn't recognize Deku's voice because Bakugo never knew Deku in this universe. So Deku, they go outside and pretty much they start off. So Deku's told to throw the ball first. Deku grabs the ball and throws it pretty much at the same speed as Bakugo and the same pretty much width as Bakugo's. So for the long jump, Deku aces it. For the race, Deku aces it. For the grip test strength, Deku aces it. Deku gets a pretty good score by second place. So Manetta gets expelled. You can tell me who Manetta gets teamed up with. But yeah, so Deku basically goes back home after that, and I'm gonna leave it out here, guys. I hope this what if was pretty good for you guys, and I'm really sorry if it was short. But yeah, also guys, I am going to be uploading a new what if, a very new what if that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. Now, this what if is going to be a pretty good what if. This is what I am going to be uploading a what if about. Later on tonight after I upload what if Deku was Deadpool from X-Men Origins Part 2 and what if Deku had the Omnitrix Part 4 or Part 3. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm gonna make a what if that I don't think a lot of what ifers have done this. What if Deku was a telepath, or what if Deku was Charles Xavier? Now, I'm not gonna turn Deku paralyzed, but I will be making what if Deku was Charles Xavier, or a telepath. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Always have a blessed day, and also guys, go in the comments and you're always free, guys, to ask me a a request of a what if or video, because guys, literally just request it and I'll do it. Okay, guys. So as always, you can request for anything, and see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye, and always have a blessed day.